So the thing that keeps coming to mind with this energy is the Marilyn Monroe effect, which, if you don't know, it's a reference to obviously Marilyn Monroe, but the kind of like magnetic way that she could marry this femininity, this sensuality, this star quality to captivate whatever room she stepped into. And I think that there's someone out here who has a little bit of like that quality to something that they do. And so I think that that's super cool. So I want like a little bit more information about like what circumstances this is kind of applicable in, and you know what Spirit's advice for managing this gift would be. So already we've got the High Priestess, we've got the Moon, the Four of Swords, and the Nine of Pentacles. So, you know, what this is giving to me is it's like almost, I think, like this way that you have the capacity on, you know, an energetic level, I think, to attract what it is that you need, what it is that you want, what it is that kind of like puts you in this space of feeling luxurious. I think even when, you know, maybe the physical circumstances don't even reflect it. But I'm kind of seeing you show up as like this synthesis of this High Priestess and this, you know, Nine of Pentacles, which is, it's giving like very, very spiritually abundant and like very able to turn intuition into a gift, into a luxury, into something that serves you. And I think that, you know, kind of maybe the reason behind this message, or why I'm being asked to give it, is nested in these two cards in the middle, because we have the Moon and the Four of Swords. And I think with that, there may be something about you discounting this, because it happens even when you're not necessarily trying, you know, even when you're kind of just like sitting back and not doing anything, you know, it's almost something that continues to be perpetuated, even just like by your subconscious, literally just your energy. And so it's one of those things that, you know, you could write off as like, oh, you've got a little bit of luck there, or, you know, you kind of like happened into that. And Spirit wants you to know that it's not quite that, simple. There's a little bit more going on. We've got the Queen of Wands, the Queen of Pentacles, the Page of Pentacles, and the Page of Swords, the Empress, the Hierophant, and the Eight of Pentacles. Yeah, no, this is, with these three on the bottom, I think that like there is something in your spiritual path, and something that I think is, I'm getting like your guides want you to know this, because this is something that like you have been taken through certain experiences and certain cycles in order to almost like build this skill of making it look easy, you know, in order to put you in this like empress energy, where someone is looking at you and they're like, you know, they're just like sitting back. It's just happening to them. And it's like, no, it's actually a result of all of this other work here. And it's very much aligned with your path, And I think like kind of what we're seeing up here in this row above is really a lot of like the different things that they want me to kind of break down that underlie this almost like magnetic aura that you have, where we've got the Queen of Wands and the Queen of Pentacles, which is, you know, giving someone who is both like very lively, very passionate, you know, very, very fun to be around, but also very grounded. And like uses that kind of energy of excitement and passion and all of that to nurture and to heal and to create spaces where I think other people like also feel safe, like showing up in their more like excited energy, in their more authentic energy. And on top of that, I think that there's also a lot about having like trained your mind, to really put your focus on those things that matter to you. You know, it's like even when you're like physically not engaging as much, and, you know, I think that you do, you know, put in work where it matters. But it's like your focus and your mental perspective and almost like the vision that you have that you're manifesting, like you're very, very good at doing that to the point that you almost take it for granted. You know, because I think a lot of times like page energy is great because it's all about, you know, having this open mind, these potentially new beginnings, being willing to be curious and consider a lot of different options as far as like what you want, as far as how you get there, you know, as far as your desires as well with that like Page of Pentacles. And I think that like these parts of you that, you know, maybe that's inner child, inner dreamer, something like that, you know, I think is very easy to like get kind of off track. You are very good at like keeping your inner pages on track. And when like that kind of like creative and open-minded energy is like directed appropriately, it's very powerful. It's very powerful for manifestation, for creation, for moving forward. And I'm getting that's like kind of what this is for you. It's almost like this ability to like passively manifest. I want to know like what situations is this most applicable in? You know, how are you using this? Okay. So we've got the Knight of Wands reversed. We've got Death. We've got the Fool. So I think that there is an element of this that is maybe a little underutilized, and they're wanting you to step into that a little more. As far as a new chapter, I think in the past, you've been using this a lot to like take care of yourself and take care of other people, make sure you have what you need. You know, it's still like very magnetic and attractive, but there is like with a lot of this, like this underlying theme, I think, of making sure that things are taken care of, you know, being very diligent. And I think it's interesting. They kind of like gave me the answer that I was asking from this, and then, you know, a little bit extra with this, like, Knight of Wands reversed. I think that there's almost like a part of you that is a little bit stifled, that could be making good use of this ability that you've been using, I think, to like nurture a lot of people like yourself and also those around you. But I think that there's something here about moving into the energy of just like doing, attracting and cultivating things just because you want them, just because they feel good, just because that would be cool, you know. And this energy here is like very positive, but, you know, it is a lot more careful, kind of grounded than you would expect from like a Knight of Wands. And I think that like there's a lot of value in like having learned to cultivate the energy this way first, because I think this is the kind of like magnetic energy that like very much could take you to some not great places if you just start calling in everything and, you know, start going for whatever passion, desire, emotion you're feeling. And I think maybe that's kind of either what happened or what you were afraid of happening that kind of caused you to almost like stifle, like I said, stifle this like Knight of Wands part of you a little bit. Stifle some of your passions and desires. And I think that like there may also be some part of that, you know, was also like set in place like by your guides, by spirit, to keep you from being hurt by this, or to keep you from, you know, having that energy or that ability like misused in a sense. But I think like with Death in the Fool, you're really ready, I think, to use this to its fullest capacity, not just to like nurture others, but also like sometimes just to have a good time, and to feel almost like feel the extent of your own power, of your own magnetism. You know, because I was talking about initially that, you know, this may not even be something that you fully realize about yourself. You know, you may see yourself as someone who gets things done and has the ability to like find the opportunities or resources to get it done, rather than seeing yourself as this fully embodied kind of like magnetic empress. But like that's a part of the empress too, is that, you know, she's attractive. She's having a good time. Like she's a feminine archetype, a maternal archetype. And I think you may have been like more developing kind of that side of the empress energy. But, you know, there's also a lot of attraction, a lot of very like sensual and creative energy. And I think like that's kind of the part of it that maybe to you has felt like a little redundant. Like you're so focused on like the nurturing and maternal aspect of this that, you know, you don't see it as, you know, the Marilyn Monroe effect, where, you know, Marilyn Monroe is the quintessential sex symbol, in the way that, you know, we typically talk about her or see her. And I think like with that Knight of Wands reverse, like that's kind of been the way that you've been handling this in situations, is sort of like using part of this and not the other. But I think like they want me to reassure you, with this like King of Swords here, like even if you do kind of like let that other side out to play a little bit, like, you know, take the restraints off, you know, that Knight of Wands there. You are very like grounded in truth. You're very good at, I think, like looking at situations and not like losing your head with the King of Swords. Like you're a very more rational person than you really realize, as far as keeping yourself and your energy in check. And that's also been something that I think you've been developing throughout this whole process. And like Spirit's like, yeah, like we're not sending you into a situation where you're being set up to fail. Like we're setting you into a situation where you're having a chance to, you know, explore different facets of this gift and different facets of your own energy. Because we know that you have the good sense to not misuse that, to not take that in a negative direction. And like, you don't have to be so afraid of that. You don't have to be so afraid of, you know, like being magnetic and being attractive and being passionate and being driven towards what it is that you want. It's interesting. I just realized my necklace fell off. Yeah, some things are maybe a little disconnected. I think like this kind of like part of this energy is, it almost feels like the the final piece in the puzzle for you to not just like have this energy, because something about this is just, it's just inherent to you. You know, like that's the Marilyn Monroe effect. It's like you just walk in and something just about your energy and the way that you present yourself, that you carry yourself, like it's just captivating. And I think the final step is really this passion, this desire. So I'd like a little bit more information about like kind of getting this Knight of Wands out of reverse and this like death and rebirth and Fool that we have over here. Like what's this look like? What's the advice? Okay. We've got the Four of Wands, the Devil, the Magician, and the Two of Cups. So again, this is giving me like almost like resisting a little bit of like those things that you might consider like baser urges, you know, like trying to, I think like not wanting to like give into that or being taken over by that. You know, but they're kind of, there's also a reminder here that it's like, desire is not inherently a bad thing. You know, it can be something that is, with the Devil card, like very constricting, very much like a prison, very much a chain that keeps you from getting where you want. But there's also like, you know, there's, with this Two of Cups here, like there's healthy desire, there's balance, there's a way to handle that is not gonna wreck things. You know, and I really like that we have like the Devil coming out under death, which to me is like confirmation there that I think whatever like you are afraid of in desire, you know, and it doesn't matter like what, however it resonates, you know, because we can be talking about, you know, desire for intimacy, for money, for success, you know, like all of those things are kind of, you know, contained in this card. And when we talk about that, so like however it resonates for you, like whatever thing that you've kind of been like resisting or feeling like, oh, you know, this is like a corrupting influence, you know, they're saying with this Two of Cups that showed up under the King of Swords that I was talking about, being that discernment, being that truth, being that, you know, ability to see through those situations. It's really about like having that in a balanced way and being aware of like what that is and not, you know, making that your sole focus or, you know, the thing that you're feeling bound by. Because I think that like there's something here about even when you're like resisting it, it's still on some level allowing your behavior to be controlled by it, even though you're, you know, being controlled by, you know, suppression in this case. It's still like almost avoiding a part of you. With this Four of Cups that came out under that reversed Knight of Wands, it's kind of like they're offering you like that last piece of your energy, and you know you've kind of been you know turning away, like no, I don't really want that. And I think it's because you've seen what that can become. You've seen how that can be misused. And I think that, you know, there's some wisdom in not just jumping straight into whatever vice. But like with the Magician under the Fool, I think it's about calling in and taking action, on, like I said, like a more balanced form of desire, of attraction. Again, whether we're talking about attraction in a physical sense, attraction in, you know, terms of visibility, in terms of attracting financial success, love, whatever that is, you know, there is a very healthy version of it. And the changes and shifts that Spirit's taken you through are to kind of like cut down this Devil to a size where it's no longer something that would overtake you, no longer something that would bind you, and instead something that, you know, kind of reflects and matches you and, you know, in a sense allows you to complete that cycle and like integrate your own energy, really. So I think that there's definitely a message here about being open to when, spirit presents you with an opportunity to move forward with something that maybe felt scary or that you were, not wanting to indulge before, that it is safe to do so. Like, you still want to use your discernment. You want to be in your King of Swords energy as far as determining, like, what aspects are balanced, what aspects are safe, how do we move forward. Definitely use discernment, focus on the truth, but like, they're presenting you with opportunities because you're ready to receive them, because you can handle them in a way that's certainly not going to sabotage anything else that you've built, but it's actually going to build on it, and it's actually going to allow you to more fully embody the rest of this, I think, and more consciously, rather than feeling like that's something that you can't fully claim, or, it's just something that happens, feeling more like it is you, and it is something that I think encompasses all spheres of you, like on all levels. You are radiant, and you are magnetic, and you are capable of not just calling in, but also holding and balancing all those things that you do call in, and there's no need to be afraid of the extent of your energy. Oh no, is there anything else this collective needs to know? Alright, we've got the Hanged Man, the Page of Cups, and the King of Pentacles. Yeah, so this is telling me that I think it's going to be a shift from you feeling like you are, giving things up, and kind of sacrificing with that Hanged Man, to feeling much more stable and abundant. And I think you're also going to be surprised at the way that I think giving up that, it's funny, it's like giving something up, like giving up sacrifice in this case, giving up, whatever it is that you've been holding back on. I think that that's going to bring out some new energy, happy surprises in the people around you. Because like I said, you have an impact. Whether or not you want to acknowledge it, you have an impact on the people around you. And I think that, like, you moving out of that energy is gonna have people showing up in some surprising new ways. I think wanting to support you, wanting to be around you, wanting to help provide you with what it is that you need, whether that's like emotionally, physically, whatever. I see this as like a very positive thing where, there's almost like you don't even know who's waiting for you to come out of your shell and be your true self. And you don't even know like how beautiful and I think how abundant that is going to be when you do that. So best of luck with that. I think this is awesome energy and you're on the right track.